What's crappin'? Welcome to Under the Foreskin, a show dedicated to the happenings of the SJU and Misfits Fantasy Football League. My name is Kyle. I'm the head of football operations for the Potomac Pretenders. My views are a touch biased, but I'm the only one with a microphone and a video editing program, so you're going to have to deal with it. We got a great show lined up. We're going to go through the results of Week 2. We're going to check out Waiver Wire Wednesday and what went down with all the trades this week. And then we'll move into picks for Week 3. A lot of new teams putting new players out there, and it's going to be an interesting week of fantasy football. So let's start. Week 2 results. We'll start off with the highest scoring team of the week, the Buffalo Armadillos. They took on the Tallahassee Trouser Snakes, and they blew out their projections, and they blew out the Trouser Snakes, 133-95. Vic had a solid performance for the Snakes. Vernon Davis ignited, finally caught some touchdowns, which I know David has been waiting for. But it wasn't enough. Somebody named Danny Amendola scored 21 points for the Buffalo Armadillos, and he much outkicked his coverage. Well done, Jack. Both teams are now 1-1. The Gnawbone Butte Pirates, after a loss to my Pretenders in Week 1, took on the new team, the Chernobyl Tin Whiskers, headed by Mike Vanis, a newly married man. All the good karma that happened on his beautiful wedding must have hurt his fantasy football team, because he scored 52 points this week. And a one-legged kicker in an ass-kicking contest probably could have beat his fantasy team. 85-52, Butte Pirates pull out. Cam Newton got back on track with 25 points. And 8 starters from the Chernobyl Tin Whiskers failed to reach their projected points. Ouch. Look for better performance out of his guys next week. Another new team, the Waco Wrinkle Beast, exploded this week after a tough start in Week 1. They took on the Duluth Draft Dodgers, who had a good week in Week 1. 114-97 was the final score, with the Waco Wrinkle Beast getting their first win in the SJU and Misfits Fantasy Football League. 32 points from Reggie Bush. Yes, you heard it right, Reggie Bush. The up and downs of Vincent Jackson were definitely up this week. He scored 19 points. I'd say it's safe to say you can expect about 2 catches for 18 yards in the next couple weeks. So good luck with that, Joel. The Duluth Draft Dodgers had 3 one-pointers, otherwise had a pretty damn good week. Lost Ahmad Bradshaw, which hurts. Dez, tough matchup up in Seattle, and Dan Bailey, the kicker, didn't gain anything from the lackluster Cowboys offense last week. The Sioux City Smugglers took on the Flint Tropics in a battle of the powerhouses. When you look up and down rosters, it's pretty easy to say these two stick out. As far as starters are concerned, I'm not sure about depth. It was a tight game with a low-scoring game, and I think we were all deep down rooting for the Flint Tropics because we love Dinger, and Roger is just an arrogant fuck. But Roger pulled off 77-75. He got 2 points from Cutler and Marshall, 0 from Kenny Britt, and -1 from Oakland. But his goddamn core of his team, Marshawn Lynch, Arian Foster, and Rob Gronkowski, a keeper from last year, scored a total of 53 points and put him over the edge. Flint Tropics got a couple zeros out of Fitz, which what I thought might have been the steal of the draft is looking to suffer from bad quarterbacking in Atlanta. And he also got 0 points from Aaron Hernandez, who looked to go down with some sort of lower leg injury. Jason Hansen, his kicker, was his bright spot with 16 points, which is never good for a fantasy football team to have your highest scoring player be your kicker. Next up, we had the Sausage Wallets, and they took on the Bakersfield Border Collies, and they won the game 70-65. A trade went down between these two teams just prior to the game's beginning. LaShawn McCoy was dished from the Bakersfield Border Collies to the Sausage Wallets, the Poland Sausage Wallets, and McCoy was traded for Wes Welker and Darren McFadden. So good trade for both teams. Border Collies need to beef up their starting roster a little bit, and they got 2 good players for one, really great player in McCoy. And the Sausage Wallets had enough of Darren McFadden in his slow start in Week 1. The trade was dead even this week. Both McCoy produced 12 points, and Welker and D-Mac combined produced 12 points. So I guess that tells you that the Sausage Wallets has got a little more depth on that bench. Look for big performances out of both teams this week. Should be a fun week for them. The Hollywood Hotties took on the Crapstone Prairie Dogs, who are frankly looking kind of crappy. I'm sorry to say it, Al, my co-commissioner, one of my good friends in the world who I enjoy many things with. but your fantasy football team is really struggling. Aaron Rodgers, your golden child that you picked up late last season, is definitely underperforming. Hey, Doug Martin has a bright spot. He looks good. But, just all in all, you need better performance out of your guys. I feel like 83 points is actually an okay performance, and you still got beat by more than I got fingers and toes. So the hotties, 47 points from Dwayne Bowe and Victor Cruz, and there is your dagger. Brady outperformed Aaron Rodgers 14-10 in this game in the battle of the big quarterbacks. Last but not least, the game of the week. The Potomac Pretenders took on the Poughkeepsie Pandas, and the head of football operations for the Potomac Pretenders, Kyle Punton, or myself, was so excited on Monday night about his come-from-behind victory that he had to call into the radio show and leave a voicemail. So we'll let him give you the rundown of the game and what happened.
What's crappin' in SJU and Misfits? This is Kyle Punton, head of football operations for the Potomac Pretenders, and I just have one thing to say to you. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Yes, I do! The Pretenders down 13 going into Monday Night Football with only little Willie McGahee and Matt Bryant playing, going up against the hot Peyton Manning. Everyone's talking about him. Everybody wants to watch him. He's now a Poughkeepsie Panda, freshly traded from the Tallahassee Trouser Snakes. I think you could ask 100 out of 100 people, they would have said with a 13-point lead and Peyton Manning at the helm, there's no chance the Pretenders are coming back on this one. But just you wait. Manning throws 3 picks early, never gets his feet under him. Willie's got only his feet under him, runs in for 2 scores, over 100 yards. That 13-point deficit turned into a 15-point victory in a matter of 4 hours. It was a beautiful night for the Pretenders. To my competitor, Tyler Olson, VP of football operations for the Poughkeepsie Pandas, I just have one thing to say to you, bud. My PP is better than your PP. There's going to be tough nights like this ahead for you, and you just got a lackluster squad, just not a lot of depth. You're going to run into this, and we're all happy that you found CJ Spiller and he's your new little toy to accompany Peyton Manning, but it just wasn't enough at the end of the day. At the end of the day, the basement-dwelling Potomac Pretenders from the 2011 season are now undefeated, 2-0 after 2 weeks and in the top 3. Glad to see. Hey, I probably could have called in on Wednesday, but I just finished a 2-hour drive listening to the Atlanta Falcons radio network on the way to Duluth, and I just so jacked up. I had to call into the show, leave a voicemail. Hopefully, Kyle Punton, myself, will put it on the radio show, and as just a quick little segment to share some of the excitement that we had tonight. So the Pretenders 2-0, 15-point victory over the Poughkeepsie Pandas. Better luck next time.
Wasn't that fun? Excited. Wasn't that fun? Sure is great to see a fantasy football owner excited about a come-from-behind victory. Great move to call in on the night of the victory. And, you put one of those events like that up against the 1980 Olympics, the U.S. hockey team, Miracle on Ice. That was Miracle on Monday Night Football for the Potomac Pretenders. Great to see. To my competitor, Tyler, head of the Poughkeepsie Pandas, I think you got a great squad. I'm sorry about the trash talk, just, living in the moment. I think you're going to make the playoffs, and I think we'll meet again. It'll be a fun battle. So until that time, see you out there. Let's get into Waiver Wire Wednesday and trades for the week. We had some lots of movement this week on the old trading block. The Potomac Pretenders dished Michael Bush and Brandon LaFell to the Tallahassee Trouser Snakes for Stephen Ridley. Added some much-needed hands at receiver for the Tallahassee Trouser Snakes, and a starting running back in Michael Bush, who is taking over for Matt Forte till he gets his foot better. The Pretenders picked up Stephen Ridley, up-and-coming guy, high-powered offense. We'll just have to wait and see. I know he's excited about him. Next trade of the week, the Tallahassee Trouser Snakes took that Michael Bush they just received and Peyton Hillis and dished them to the Navajo and Butte Pirates for Steven Jackson. Picking up a little bigger name, Butte Pirates probably high on Michael Bush, and maybe see a chance for Hillis to excel in the Kansas City Chiefs offense. Not sure about that. Of course, David Trell, never settling for anything, took his newly acquired Steven Jackson back to the trading block and traded for Chris Johnson from the Bakersfield Border Collies. So now the Bakersfield Border Collies have Steven Jackson. The Trouser Snakes have Chris Johnson, and the Gnawbone Butte Pirates have Michael Bush and Peyton Hillis. The last trade of the week, which should be prefaced with Waiver Wire Wednesday, Andre Brown was picked up on Waiver Wire Wednesday for $42 by the Sioux City Smugglers, and then immediately placed on the trading block with a bunch of other crusty running backs who Roger thinks are, Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, but in reality, they're a bunch of Pine Riders, and the only one who's probably getting any playing time is Andre Brown, and who knows what's going to happen with that. So Andre Brown was dished to the Gnawbone Butte Pirates for Jamal Charles, which raised an eyebrow with the two commissioners, but they decided to let the trade go through, especially being two roommates in Roger and Zach. We were just a little worried about some collusion, but you know what? Jamal Charles is really down on his luck coming back this year. And Andre Brown, you never know. If Bradshaw can't get healthy, Andre Brown might be the guy there. Just have to wait and see. So, picks this week. My Pretenders take on the Buffalo Armadillos. I like the Pretenders in this one. Just a little more consistency up and down the roster. Armadillos blew their load last week. I like the Pretenders this week. Excuse me. The Flint Tropics take on the Duluth Draft Dodgers. I like the Flint Tropics this week. Tony Romo at Tampa, Megatron at Tennessee. I think both have big weeks. Tallahassee Trouser Snakes take on the Sausage Wallet. My upset special, I'll take the Trouser Snakes. Tough pick, but David Treadle, horseshoes falling out of his ass all the time. We'll probably get a monster game out of CJ2K. The Crapstone Prairie Dogs take on the Sioux City Smugglers and arguably a laugher. Yahoo projects a 39-point gap. Normally, I don't really care for Yahoo projections, but that's a large gap, and the Smugglers look to be in for a big week this week. Gnawbone Butte Pirates and the Waco Wrinkle Beasts play each other. I like the Butte Pirates. Winkle Beasts are starting, once again, Mark Ingram, who had a decent week last week, actually. I just think the Butte Pirates are solid with Michael Bush and Andre Brown. Two guys that could be great this week and then fall off the face of the earth. We never know. The Bakersfield Border Collies take on the Hollywood Hotties. Another tough game to pick. I like the Hotties this week with Hakeem Nicks out for the Pretenders. Victor Cruz will blow up this week, I have a feeling. He's going to get a lot of targets, a lot of looks. Back on primetime, and I think he's going to give it his best shot. And I think that'll be enough to propel him over the Bakersfield Border Collies and newfound male model Robert Griffin III. The Poughkeepsie Pandas take on the Chernobyl Tin Whiskers. And to be honest, I mean, I'm probably going to pick whoever the Tin Whiskers are playing, because the Tin Whiskers just fielding just a crusty squad. They got AP, probably their only bright knight in shining armor. He's at San Francisco, arguably one of the toughest defenses. And his other Minnesota boy, Eric Decker, takes on Houston, which they have a great pass defense, so it could be tough. That's it for the picks. We'll see how they all turn out. I never claim to be an expert. I'm just giving my opinion, but it's a pretty damn good opinion. So follow us on Twitter at SJU and Misfits. Check out our new website put together by Roger Schlachter. SJUandmisfits.com. Great job, Roger, on that. I know it's a base level website right now, but hopefully we can bloom her into something on the Chives level. That'd be about where I see that website heading. So until next week, good luck to all teams out there. Thanks for tuning in. Over and out.